Hey guys, thanks for joining me. And if you like what you see, please subscribe.
Hello, peoples. Welcome to Sharp Ends, and have I got a knife to share with you today? This is the Forest Convex Scandi grind from Bark River Knives in Magna Cut. I was a little hesitant to get this guy, but I am now a total convert, and this is one of my top 5 favorite fixed blade knives. This is what I would call a medium sized fixed blade knife. And it does an amazing job with a lot of tasks that I find myself doing all the time. I'm going to get into all that in this full review. But first, I'd like to really thank my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And if all of you could leave a comment, it really helps out the channel, or like and subscribe. Thanks so much, guys. All right, so let's get into this. I have a ultralight Bushcrafter, which is a convex Scandi grind combo as well. Now, the Scandi grind is obviously something like this. This is the Genesis, right? And so you've got a flat here, and then it comes down to a point, no secondary bevel. And this is really good for processing wood. You can shave with this pretty nicely and make tinder and do a lot of other things, but that's basic Scandi grind, right? And then you've got the convex grind, which is more like this Bravo 1.5, right? Where you've got the blade shape comes down to a point and there's no secondary bevel here. Very good for shaving and doing bushcraft type style. So this is a combination of two of the best kinds of grinds for one knife. Now, this is called the Forest. It's obviously a bushcraft knife made by them purposefully, Bark Rivers, and you know that because it has the compass symbol on here, as does this guy. But something like the Bravo does not have that, which I find interesting. Yeah, I like this grind because it combines the best of both worlds. You can see that I've been using this. I just got done building a boat, and I rough cut out the tiller. And once I got the tiller nice, I took this knife and I whittled the rest of it to the fine shape that it would eventually be. And I had to then just sand it very lightly. From larger pieces of wood, taking it off, to smaller pieces of wood, both cutting, with the tiller on my chest and cutting, making cuts like this, or push cuts. I found the accuracy of being able to change the angle very easy and intuitive. I found the control of this knife to be really good. One of the reasons for that is the ergos of this. You'll notice it doesn't have quite the same ergos as the traditional Bark River. And by that, I mean, it doesn't have this finger choil area where you kind of hold it right here, right? And then it locks in with this back part. It does have this tail, this pinky finger part right here where you kind of lock in, but it doesn't have the front part. And that's because you're going to be holding it like this. You're going to be doing draw cuts towards yourself. You're going to do other things. This is much more of a hammer grip, is what I'll call it. And it works really well. And it's also fat. Like, it's just as fat as the Bravo, but a smaller blade. And the shape of the blade, the way it comes down to a point here, makes it really easy to get in there. And it's thick behind the point, too, so you're not going to break that easily. Makes it really nice for doing all kinds of carpentry stuff. This is still exceedingly sharp. If you use it correctly, you're not going against the grain, and you're not using this to baton with, this kind of steel, Magna Cut, this kind of grind and shape and everything is going to keep sharp forever. It has just one pin, and it's not a full tang knife. You'll notice that too. So this isn't made for the batoning. This is strictly made for woodworking. And it has become my go-to knife whenever I'm working on a carpentry project, and I do a lot of carpentry projects. Having this knife around makes doing anything in carpentry much easier, faster, better. Any kind of shaping, whittling tasks, absolutely amazing. I've started fires with this too. It's pretty good with that. Although in general, when I'm making a fire, I'm going to use something. If I want something small, I'll use the ultralight Bushcrafter, or if I need something bigger, I'm going to be using my Genesis or my Bravo. Yeah. In general, this is more of a straight up a carpentry knife. So highly recommendable for me for that purpose. It's got this fake bolster, if you want, with a line here. And someone called it my Duracell themed knife. And I like that a lot. It's got the black with the copper on top and the red line divide, and you've got this little dot here. So it is definitely feels like a Duracell themed knife, and I like those aesthetics a lot. This is the shiny finish on the canvas um, micarta, and I like that a lot. You can see I have a lot of that kind of stuff here. Would have I gotten the matte if that had been available when I got it? No, I kind of like the shiny stuff. It never really slips out of my hands because the ergodynamics are so good that I don't mind it. I don't mind matte either. Matte works just fine, and the oils in your hands eventually get into it, and it ends up being fine. But this has a classic look that stays. That I just appreciate. I don't know if it's better or worse or not, and there's a lot of controversy about that. So, and then let's talk about the size real fast. We're talking about, like, I call this a medium knife, and that to me is like 3.5. Anything under 3.5, I call small. So this is like 3.25. This is definitely small, smaller knife stock and everything else. And then, big is what I call anything over, getting to over 3.5, going into 4 and 4.5 and bigger, right? Positives on this: great handle shape, amazing woodworker. Cons: this is what are my cons for this? I don't even know if I have cons for this. I mean, it has a lanyard hole. I don't necessarily need a lanyard hole on this type of knife, but I guess it's okay. It's kind of a smaller one compared to other knives. Like this ultralight Bushcrafter has a massive lanyard hole, and this has this small little guy. But I'm not a lanyard hole type of guy. I don't think I have any negatives about this, honestly. It's not going to be for wood processing, but that's not what this knife is made for. I do have a negative. Their sheath. So it actually doesn't bother me with this model so much, but this like unisex, I call it unisex, but it's really for left or right-handed people, so that, I'm a right-hander. So I put this in here, and it's going to mold to my knife here in the right-hand position. So if I keep it on my right, the waist on my right, like that. If I was left-handed, I'd want the knife to mold on this other side here, right? I don't think it's much of a difference. It really doesn't matter. Why not just be a little bit more, go ahead. Get like look at the LT Wright's sheath. Like, so much nicer. And even, I would prefer this type of knife, especially because it's some kind of, it's called the Forest, and it's kind of for bushcraft, even though I'm not using it that way. I'm using it more for carpentry. This ultralight Bushcrafter comes with this nice, somewhat shaped thing, and I don't need to appendix carry this knife. I don't need to carry it a bazillion different ways. I mean, maybe other people are different. I don't know. I would rather buy my own sheath than be forced to buy this one. I don't know how you feel about it. Having said that, my caveat is that I don't mind this sheath that much. Like I said, I was working in the shop a lot with this knife, and I was using it for carving and stuff like that. And honestly, when it's on your waist, you kind of forget what it looks like. And aesthetics aside, it's perfectly practical, and it works just fine. So, keep it simple, stupid. Fine. It is what it is. Is this recommendable to everyone? No. Is this recommendable to anyone who does a bunch of bushcraft work and carpentry? Absolutely. I think it's probably a must-have. And the steel MagnaCut, I think, is a perfect choice for this. So if you're in a wet environment, it's going to stay somewhat rust resistant. Well, rust resistant. And it is fairly well balanced, so it'll stay sharp, and it has a fairly good amount of toughness as well. So I think all around, this is a great knife for those purposes. Will I be batoning with this? Absolutely not, although I'm sure it could take it. But this knife is much more for fine woodwork than it is for brute woodwork. Yeah, overall, I absolutely love this knife. I think it's awesome. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. And if you want to get a chance to win a knife every single month, just become a Patreon supporter by following the link down below. And for $3 a month, you too could win a knife. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you next time on Sharp Ends. Bye-bye now.